welcome to Dim and Patch episode 187.
Why is it like a...
I'm your host, Ryan Johnson.
Like a real suave intro. Hello.
Today we're going to be talking about...
Can we get the piano
Sony publishing Nintendo... I should do that, eh?
Yeah.
Sony publishing Nintendo Switch games potentially under a new label. Activision clarifies its patent for encouraging microtransactions. EA revamping Star Wars, a single-player game, all the while shutting down Dead Space developer Visceral. Xbox One X, not for everybody, according to Phil Spencer. And Blizzard is hiring for a new Overwatch project. So we'll be talking about that later in the show. Matt, what's new? What do you got?
Well, just about to finish The Sopranos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll probably be
About
next...
20 years too late.
20?
No,
not literally 20.
I forget how long ago it was. Feels like 20.
It's old. They have AOL, and like they have like dial-up internet, and they have...
Sounds like 20 years
They
ago.
have flip phones, and they have CRTs and projection TVs and stuff.
Hey, Siri, when did The Sopranos come out?
Which The Sopranos?
Should I like cover my ears in case there's like a spoiler from Siri?
The Sopranos was released January 10th, 1999.
Cover my ears.
1999.
There you go. Okay, good.
We're coming up on 20 years.
Coming up, yeah. So, I mean, it was also on for 6 or something years.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
But
That'd be great
yeah.
if Siri just spoiled it for you, too.
Yeah. Sopranos, the ending is, no!
Yeah. You made 3 episodes away, man.
I know. Fuck. So, yeah, so I'm a few episodes away, so I'm sure we'll be talking about that later. But we've been playing, what's that, Lord of the Rings game?
Middle-earth, Shadow of War.
There you go. There's the full name.
Yeah, let's talk about that, actually, because I don't think we've had a podcast since we played it, right?
No, yeah, it just came out.
Well, I think last week we didn't have a podcast, right?
Yeah.
So,
but the game's pretty fun.
it's very similar to the first. So I wouldn't say don't go in expecting a whole lot different. The only real big difference is kind of the fortresses. That's about it.
And I don't know whether it would be a spoiler for me, but so I'm behind you. So the point I'm at for kind of a baseline, I guess, is I got to the third region, and this is a spoiler for anyone who hasn't played it. I got to the third region, and I started getting taught how to do the, I guess, the commanding system in which you actually like start creating an army.
Which I'm surprised it took so long to get to that point.
Yes, yeah, that was something I was going to bring up. And basically, I've literally just been going around and installing like orcs everywhere, and I've been doing that for a few hours, and I haven't done any of the actual story missions in the area yet. So, I haven't actually done an invasion yet. I take it you have taken down the fortress like that, in that region.
Yeah,
region?
the story leads you there. Yeah,
but it's a little bit strange still. It's one of those things, and I had this problem with the first game too. Is the first game seemed to have this relatively intricate but yet very behind the scenes nemesis system, in which I could choose an orc that I wanted and then get him way up, but there wasn't really any metrics or really any reason for me to do it. It was I should kill these 2 bodyguards so it's easier for me to do this next mission. But that was kind of the extent of it. There wasn't any benefit for me to win something.
Yeah.
Or for getting a guy to the top. But now it seems like it's better because you're actually conquering land, fortresses, whatever. Mm-hmm. The only problem I have is that it still feels a little bit clunky. I don't know if you get that vibe, but I had a problem, and this was a glitch. It was patched. I had a problem where no lines were on my thing. So before you'd highlight the war chief, which is basically the second and third in command, I guess, and they would show you where his bodyguards are if he has them, and then you get intel on them, hunt them down, control them or kill them, whatever. Mm-hmm. That was that's kind of a big thing that I'm doing now. It's kind of my new mechanic that I learned in the game, and those lines weren't there. But even with the lines, now that that's fixed, there was a patch and it got it and it's fixed. It still feels very lackluster to me. I was trying for so long. I was I know there's probably going to be another story mission to teach me how to take out the top guy because I couldn't do anything to him. I couldn't track him down. I couldn't do anything. So I was okay, well, I'm going to install my guys as the war chiefs. And what ended up happening was the war chief ended up dying in one of the battles. And I was okay, well, one of my guys is the bodyguard. I got all of his bodyguards are my guys. I infiltrated this war chief. So they'll take his place. Never did. He's just dead. So what I'm trying to do with the second war chief now is take him over. And like, I mean, I'm not. This isn't a complaint because, like I said, like I'm still learning the mechanic. Like literally, the game is teaching it to me. But it's just a little bit strange right now for me.
Yeah.
And I have. They gave me a loot box, and of course, a loot box. And they gave me like a loot box, and I ended up getting a couple of decent orcs. And it's very unclear how to actually install them into the game.
Yeah. I haven't done it yet either.
And I figured out how to do it,
Is it?
but it seems like a waste at the moment.
There are moments when you can place people in the fortress itself after you've taken it over. I don't know if you can use them then or not.
Well, you know how I said I killed the war chief? Mm-hmm. Well, the war chief isn't like being replaced at the moment. It's literally just like it shows like the skull and crossbones sort kind of like thing. And if I hover over his place, I can hit square, and that apparently allows me to install someone from the market, someone I've earned in the market, through a loot box into that position. But I don't want to waste somebody because I have like a good guy, and I don't know whether I should be like waiting for like the second fortress. Cause maybe that's a lot harder. I don't know. So I still have to learn. I still have a lot to learn, I think.
I get somewhat confused in some of the missions. You know how you can like take over a guy and have him go fight another guy, and you can go assist in that fight.
Yeah.
It's a little confusing on what your goal is during those fights, because I've had one where I had one of my orcs going up against another orc,
right?
And I jumped in, and the orc we were fighting was like doing his own mission at the time to like kill a Karagor or something like that.
Yeah.
And I weakened the Karagor thinking I'd just get this thing out of the way, and that made him win his mission.
Yes, that's correct.
And then I failed, but the other guy killing him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's because what I found is like there's times, and I don't know whether it's time based or they have to do something, but there's times in which you can say like ambush, and you can actually send more than one of your guys to ambush somebody, and then like so at one point I ambushed, I believe, with 2 people, and I think it was during that mission that you're talking about where there was like this big guy, he was skulking through like the woods trying to kill a Karagor. What I ended up doing was just ended up killing the guy, but I see what you mean. I think what it ultimately is it really is up to you. Like you can tell your guys to ambush him and then help that guy, but at the end of the day, that's kind of useless.
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to like, and I don't really know whether there's any implications in game. I don't think there is. You're trying to like get like level that enemy guy up. Once he gets to a certain level, then you'll conquer him, and then almost like replace the guys you told to ambush. But then why would tell them to ambush?
Yeah, I wish it was just a little more clear. I think that's the biggest problem with this game. There's so much information that they teach you in such a short amount of time.
Yeah,
It's very unclear. I remember when they're showing off the Nemesis system in the first game, they showed this really cool scene where there was some sort of orc, and he was like talking to like a bunch of like his like followers, right?
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
getting them all riled up in this like big chant or whatever, right? And you're supposed to have this controlled orc come in and like stab him in the back and kill him.
yeah,
And you're there watching, and you see it play out. And then after that captain's dead,
Yeah.
you can jump down and just wreak havoc. I'm not seeing anything like that in this one.
Now-
It's like anytime you go to one of those encounters, it like loads the encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Was that do you remember though if that was a stronghold mission?
I don't remember. No.
Because
It might have been.
what I'm thinking is you know how you can build those, or you can upgrade your orcs, like you can assign people as like, oh, you're the assault captain, and here's a perk that I bought for you. What I'm thinking is like if you have, and this is a total estimate, is if you have an exact counter or a counter to somebody. So if someone is like good at poisoning, and then the guy is like one of the people in the enemy team is like is sickly or is like, you know, poison kills him instantly, then like your guy will like poison him because it's like an exact counter, and then that's like one of those like things where it's like in a cinematic he killed that guy or poisoned him or whatever, and therefore the battle's easier.
Yeah. I don't know.
The game's fun though. Like the game, I still can't get used to the game world. Like the game world to me has always been weird in these games because like everything, like the areas are just so hostile, and you can't like there's no like chill time in like in typical RPG. Go back to town, mess around with your gear, buy stuff, sell stuff, whatever, and then you kind of move on. And you like pick up a couple quests and you take off. This game is like there's quests already kind of laid out for you, and then you just kind of go around killing guys. And like there's areas that are just havoc. Like you'll be like fighting a captain, then 2 other captains show up,
Yeah.
and then like you kill him, kill those 2 guys, and then like another guy ambushes you, and it's just total chaos all the time.
I had put my game into rest mode, right?
Right.
And when I came back and turned my console back on, immediately it's like, hey, yo, Ranger,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
instantly. I'm like, how did that happen? I almost feel like it sometimes analyzes what's going on. You know what I mean?
It might.
I've had times where I hit the pause menu during me fighting a captain, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll unpause it and then it'll be like, hey.
Yeah.
And another captain will show up. And I almost feel like they just throw them in there when they notice you do something
Yeah, really.
like that. Because they just pop out of nowhere. They literally just come out of nowhere.
The orc variety though is nice. Like that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I was telling you that I captured like a real dumb big guy. Like it's one of the bigger Uruks. I don't know what the hell they're called.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just dumb. And there was a cutscene in which he literally saw an enemy captain who was hunting him, and he was like, "Hey you!" And the guy looks over. He's like, "There you are, maggot!" And he's like, "Oh no, I've been cornered!" And he starts running away. And I was like, "You idiot!" I had to go like save him.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, they really handled the orcs pretty well. They all feel different, and they all have like their own little phrases and stuff.
Yeah,
It's pretty fun.
I have that one weird guy that you never encountered.
The guy won't die?
I've encountered this one guy in the first place like 5 times, and there was one point in which I literally cut off his arms and then cut off his stubs. Like it was violent, and I was like, okay, this is like the 3rd or 4th time I killed this man. He's dead. Like he has to be dead. I get some loot from him, and I go run around the corner. He's, "Ranger, you left me for dead." No, you should be really dead this time.
I noticed that one orc, like that very first orc you capture, like the captain one,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
kind of goofy, right?
Yeah.
I think he tells you like the only way to kill them is take off their head. He's like, this is the surest way of killing an orc.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
So
yeah.
if you never have a finisher where it takes off his head, maybe he won't die. I don't know, you know?
Maybe there's like always a chance.
Yeah. So
Pretty good.
But the variety of orcs is fantastic.
It's really fun.
And I can fight orcs all day. I love it. You know?
The combat's super smooth for sure. Mm-hmm. And like the abilities are really like liberating. Like you get to the point where you're like, man, like executing these guys when they're on the ground, like doing the ground execution is really annoying. But then you get the thing where it goes faster, and then you were mentioning you get the other thing where Celebrimbor can fight for you while you're doing the execution.
Oh, it's fantastic, yeah.
So it's just, and then I upgraded even further, where if I counter properly with Celebrimbor, they just die. Mm-hmm. So I end up executing somebody and killing somebody.
Yeah.
So it's super smooth.
I just got one today where if I use a execution on an orc,
right,
I can hit square, and Celebrimbor will go and execute another orc.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I can hit it again, and he'll kill another one. And then I'll be finishing my move by the time Celebrimbor is already killed two.
That's pretty good.
So, yeah, it's great once you get all powered up and stuff. And the gear is cool. I like the gear drops and stuff.
The gear is better in this game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten like loot boxes, so like you can get loot boxes in this game by purchasing them. Of course, you can purchase them with in-game currency, or there's like higher level ones that are not purchasable with in-game currency. You got to buy currency. And then there's also loot boxes you get from doing, I think it's Vendetta missions, which are like the online missions.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a couple of them, and to be honest, like I get the loot and I just immediately grind it up because you can like grind it, like you can dispose of it or dismantle it for.
But there is
money.
that special armor set you can get from doing the online missions. I have 3 pieces from that so far.
You have 3 pieces from that. I think I only have 1. So,
and I've only done like 4 or 5 of them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I've been pretty lucky there.
Because I was talking to you about it, and I thought there's like a Vendetta like points, I guess, like almost like another XP bar, but it's Vendetta points.
Yeah.
And it was taking forever for me to fill it up, and I was under the impression that I got my first 1 or 2 pieces of Vendetta gear because I'd filled it up, but I wasn't paying attention. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, it's because like I've leveled up 3 times that now it's going to take me forever because my XP is taking longer. But
I don't know if you have filled that up because I was looking at it today. You need like 1,000 points.
Yeah,
and you get 100, or is it 50?
I thought you got 10. I don't even remember.
Or it might even be 10. And so it takes a long time. But another problem is if you don't get killed by orcs, like it's been a while since I've been killed by an orc captain.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a Vendetta mission online on someone else's game.
Oh, I got you.
So you won't get points. Now, normally you both get points if you defeat the orc in the Vendetta mission.
Wait. So if I defeat an orc, if it says random player has a Vendetta mission against this orc, I go into his world, I kill the guy. Mm-hmm. Okay, I get Vendetta points because I did a Vendetta mission,
and they get Vendetta points.
They get it too.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So I'm still kind of learning that, I guess. So I guess I didn't fill the bar. Maybe I don't know.
I don't think I can't imagine you have unless that's all you've done.
No, I did like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
so maybe I just unlucky lately.
All right, good game, pretty decent game to play up until the big holiday release.
Yeah,
of the bunch of other games.
Game keeps getting bigger too.
Yeah, I'm hoping there's a third. I'm hoping
it's
sales are
worthy.
good enough.
It's worthy of it.
And
for
I
sure.
am hoping that someone else actually does try the Nemesis system this time around. Someone else. Some other
I'm
developer.
seriously curious if they've locked it down somehow.
I don't think so. I just think it's no other game really has that kind of story reason to do that. No other game has you taking over your enemy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, see, this now here's an interesting idea. And I've never watched Game of Thrones, but from what I've heard about it, it's a whole bunch of literally like the Game of Thrones. It's people killing people and doing this crap to gain power and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It would be cool if it was like a game like that, where like you run an army and you could like screw people over within a Nemesis system.
And I guess you could technically bribe them to join your side or something, or pay mercenaries, or do you know what I mean?
Or even like since you're the king, like maybe you start out as like a king and you literally just get a bunch of people, and then you like slowly bribe them, like you said, or like or like capture them or whatever. Like it doesn't have to be the Lord of the Rings, literally like capture with like
A ring.
with like the ring. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's what's new, I guess. I don't think we played anything else. Oh, the Overwatch Halloween edition stuff is out.
Ugh, it's killing me.
You're trying to get to level 100.
That's my. Well, I'm really close now. I'm 6 levels away.
Yeah.
That game has made me realize, and we'll get into this, how much I hate loot boxes. So
Yeah.
I'll leave that for the next piece.
All right, the top of the stories for the week. In some unusual news, Sony is publishing a Nintendo Switch game. Now, this is not the typical Sony you may think of. Sony has separate divisions, obviously. They're a big international company. And this is not being developed by their gaming division, but by their Sony Music Entertainment division, which has launched a new publishing label called Unities. And they'll be publishing titles on all sorts of different systems. Now, this isn't the first time that Sony's done something like this. What's that new studio? They had Daybreak, which I think got sold, but they were making H1Z1 for the PC and stuff.
Oh yeah, okay.
So Sony's done this before, which it just seems weird, though. You know?
Yeah, you always think Sony, you think PlayStation, right?
Yeah, and for them to make a Switch game, I guess they're like kind of an indie type of developer making this stuff, and that's why this Nintendo Switch makes sense.
It's also strange that they're not focusing, I guess, on PlayStation. They're kind of a like third party, first party supported publisher, and then they're going over to Switch, and then they're not on board with the Microsoft and Switch crossplay stuff, which is really weird.
Yeah, because I think a lot of Sony is still segregated. You know what I mean?
What a mess, man.
Or just separated, I guess. I know that a lot of their media they tried to consolidate under just Sony Entertainment America or whatever it was. Or
I mean, to be honest, like Sony kind of should be at this point in money scramble mode. Oh, we can make money here. Let's just do it. Whatever.
I don't know what it is though. I don't know why they can't do well now.
It's one of those things that I think the brand is damaged. If I go to the store to buy speakers, I'm not looking at Sony speakers. I'll give them a glance.
It's
but that's
weird
it.
though. That's weird.
Yeah, it's not like I was screwed over by Sony speakers. It's not like I was like, man, Sony speakers suck. I've never heard anyone say that, but I don't know. I wouldn't look at them.
They have their TVs front and center at Best Buy too.
Like what the heck
But
happened?
no one seems to really care about Sony TVs. All I hear out of CES is Samsung. Samsung TVs, brand new Samsung TVs, Samsung TVs.
I think Samsung has surpassed them in technology though.
They have,
But
it
like
doesn't-
a large margin though.
but it doesn't mean the Sony TVs are bad though. And it's just like for
why
some
would
reason,
why would you buy something comparable? It's
don't
one of those things because you and I were looking at Best Buy, and you can go get like a 4K TV. Was it like $600?
Yeah.
Samsung, like not those. They have their big fancy display and all this like crap at like 3,000. But all you do is go down 2 aisles. You're still getting a 4K smart TV for Samsung. It was like $600 Canadian. God knows what that costs in America.
All right, next story here. Activision has gotten into some trouble because a patent was discovered for encouraging microtransactions. And this kind of gets a little dirty. Now, this was all just reported, I believe by Rolling Stone, I want to say. I think they reported this. That Activision was looking into ways to encourage players playing the game to buy microtransactions. Now, how do you do that? One of the ways is during matchmaking in online games, they would pair you up against someone who was better than you.
Okay.
So they would pair you up with someone who's like a good sniper or something like that, and you get killed and stuff. And that would make you angry and then go buy microtransactions to make yourself better.
Or you get their gun.
Or to boost you up, you know? So they're looking at stuff like that.
Wasn't there also like the flip side too, where they said like let's say you earned a loot box or like you bought it or whatever, and then you got like an assault rifle, they would put you in a game with people who like have trouble countering that assault rifle, so you feel powerful, so you feel good about your purchase. You feel
justified about your purchase.
Yeah.
And we're going to make more, Patent's description further specifies that it can include matchmaking systems that influence buying behavior. This system may match a more expert marquee player with a junior player to encourage the junior player to make game-related purchases of items used by the marquee player. A junior player may wish to emulate the marquee player by obtaining weapons or other items used by the marquee player. So pretty nasty. Now, Activision has tried to clear things up a bit, and they said that this is only exploratory, and such a system has not been used in any games. And they said specifically it has not been used in Destiny. Because that was a point of controversy, was Destiny having microtransactions. This was an exploratory patent filed in 2015 by an R&D team working independently from our game studios. It has not been implemented in-game.
I don't care.
But they still looked into it. So they hired that independent studio.
This is the thing is like I feel like it's like and like, you know, could not be, but I feel like this is one of those things where it's like PR gets on it. They're like, don't worry, it hasn't been used yet. But it's one of those things where maybe it's not ready and it's going to be used. Or it's one of those things where it's like, don't worry, like we're not that scumbagish. 2 years later, it becomes the norm and they use it.
But now this is an extreme example I'm going to use, but it's like, I was just looking into like torture devices. Weren't going to use it. It was exploratory. That's still suspicious. Why did you look into it in the first place? Do you know what I mean? It means you have an interest in doing something like that.
Yeah, because like literally, like to me, if someone mentioned that, I'd be like, "Oh, that's scumbagish." Like it's your first thought. Mm-hmm. But that, like, I know, like it's a business, so like they're gonna look at it, of course.
But they're trying to make it sound like, we were just, it's just something we just did casually, But that doesn't seem like a casual thing. It
doesn't seem like a casual thing.
Seems like something you would want to do, And
I mean, it makes sense for something like Call of Duty.
Yeah. Oh yeah, big time.
I wonder what COD World War II is going to be like online like that. I played the beta.
Microtransactions.
I've played the beta. I didn't see any in there, obviously, but I wonder what it's going to be like. Probably not going to have this system, I assume. But
would you pay to play as a Canadian all the time?
What do you mean?
A Canadian force?
No. What do you mean pay?
You wouldn't pay for that?
No.
Okay.
That's ridiculous. No, I'm not doing that. What's my default? America?
Yeah.
I don't care. Whatever.
No, okay. I just wondering.
I don't even care what my default is. I don't care. I'll just do it. I wouldn't pay.
No swastikas in the online, though.
Well, that's because of Germany. That makes sense.
Put a paid option to add swastikas into the multiplayer.
No, that's terrible. I wouldn't buy that. Jesus.
Get all those Nazi supporters.
I agree
playing your
with
Call of Duty game.
I agree with the swastikas being in the single player. The online, it does make sense because they're illegal in Germany, and there's no point in them like, "Oh, are you in Germany? Okay, get rid of it." Like there's no filter. Just get rid of it because the copies that are sold in Germany won't have them at all. I think.
But the old Call of Duties had swastikas. What about Wolfenstein? Do they make a whole separate version for Germany?
They must. They have to. There's separate versions of games enough for Australia.
How much is it going to cost them though to remove swastikas for the Germany copies?
Not much.
Yeah,
no, the swastikas are in the single player. The swastikas are in the single player.
Yeah, but I mean,
for historical accuracy, that makes sense.
Yeah, but in the multiplayer,
that doesn't bother me. For multiplayer has always been like non-canon.
I'm not saying it bothers me. I'm just saying, how hard is it just to remove swastikas from the multiplayer in Germany?
Probably not, but I wonder if people would just say that they weren't from Germany.
And they'll probably sell like 1 million copies in Germany anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's one of those things, man. Probably just playing it safe, which, I mean, fair enough.
Yeah. And I guess they talk to like experts and stuff too. They have a bunch of like military and like advisors on their team actually. So
that's pretty good.
In some sad news, both for Dead Space and Visceral fans and Star Wars fans alike, EA has closed down Visceral Studios.
Yep. And
they have revamped the Star Wars game that studio is working on. This came kind of as a shock, but also not at the same time, not much of a shock because the game was taking so long to develop.
And there were some bad projects that Visceral had worked on in the past.
Yeah, so here's what happened. As far as I can tell from what I've read, Dead Space 1 came out.
Yep.
Popular game, people liked it, but didn't sell amazingly well, right?
But first introduction to a series.
Yes. And,
fair
and
enough.
it was a franchise, so they made enough to make it worth a franchise.
Right.
2 comes out. They spend $60 million on it. And I'm not sure if that includes marketing or not.
Okay.
So $60 million on the next game, which is a big budget for a console game like that.
Yeah.
It only sells 4 million copies, which
Okay.
is pretty low in terms of video game sales.
Yeah.
Dead Space 3 comes out, and it's not the greatest in the franchise.
I remember that game getting some mixed
Yeah.
reviews from it.
And then they made Hardline, right?
Battlefield Hardline.
And then they spent 4 years making the Star Wars game. So it sounds like that studio was simply just out of money.
Like it's starting to go down. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
doing great.
Yeah. Good studio. The Dead Space games are great.
I always think that big studios like that need to be more agile. It's one of those things where it's like a company is supposed to be diverse. Like you're supposed to get diverse revenue streams.
Yeah.
Like really, Visceral should have been like, Jesus, we're kind of running out of money. They should have branched out and been like, let's make smaller titles and also like some mobile titles to like keep the money coming in.
But like, why did EA allow them to work on a game for 4 years? Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's probably one of those things where it's like, oh, Star Wars is like this big license. Like Battlefront is like coming out to like, you know, quell the fans of that want I keep wanting to say Star Trek. that want Star Wars like on the console. So they're like, okay, go run with it. And then they probably did like a status check and was like, what the hell, man?
Yeah. So EA Vancouver is going to be taking over, who was already working on the game, and I guess it's going to become more of a worldwide studios type of deal, where a bunch of studios that EA owns around the world will all contribute to this game, which isn't like really. Other studios do that. Ubisoft does that. The Assassin's Creed games are made by studios all over the goddamn place.
Right. Fair
So
enough.
it doesn't necessarily hurt the quality of the game. But what I'm concerned by is they said they're revamping what the game is.
I heard about this.
Prior to this, it was supposed to be a linear, story-based single-player game.
Right.
And they even hired Amy Hennig from Naughty Dog to write the story. So everyone was kind of hoping we would get this great Uncharted-like story in this Uncharted-like action-adventure Star Wars game.
Okay.
That sounds perfect for most Star Wars fans.
Right.
Right? And so they've revamped this, and here's what they said about this. Our Visceral Studio has been developing an action-adventure title set in the Star Wars universe. In its current form, it was shaping up to be a story-based linear adventure game. Throughout the development process, we've been testing the game concept with players, listening to feedback about what and how they want to play, and closely tracking fundamental shifts in the marketplace. It has become clear that to develop an experience that players will want to come back to and enjoy for a long time, we need to pivot the design.
Here we go.
So they want something that you don't just play once. They want something you come back to and keep playing and keep pumping money into, and probably microtransactions.
Did they ever mention games as a service?
Yes, I don't think they mentioned that, but I think in the reporting that was mentioned several times. They said something to the effect of player agency. They want to give it player agency, whatever that means.
Almost sounds like they're trying to destiny it, if you will.
That's what people are saying. Now,
I mean, like, see, the thing is I don't mind those type of games that play Division, that type of thing.
right.
But I think that something that's so story based that Star Wars kind of warrants one of these linear games, where you just kind of go through, do your missions, whatever, and then at the end of it.
That's what all the Battlefront fans were crying out for during the first Battlefront. We want a story. We want a campaign. So they delivered that in Battlefront 2. But then it's like they're taking it away from this Visceral game. Do you know what I mean?
It's one of those things where, like, people were bitching at EA for Battlefront 2's loot boxes and pay to win and stuff like that. I haven't looked at the details, but I see a lot of tweets and stuff. And it's one of those things where it's like, I wonder if EA is starting to become scummy again. Where, yeah, they have great deals on stuff like EA Access is still a good deal, stuff like that. But it's one of those things where it's like, well, like if you want to play anything EA, just like with Ubisoft is all about series. Maybe EA is going to be all about game as a service now. Who knows? I mean, like, we don't know. We have, like, this is one title,
Yeah.
and then like Battlefront a little bit, but we'll see.
I'm curious. Peter Moore left to go like manage some football game,
Yeah.
football team.
I mean, to be honest, it's probably a good career move for him.
It is. I'm
money-wise.
not blaming him, but I'm just saying. I wonder if the new management or whatever at EA is going to go back the scumbagish route because he did a lot to repair EA's reputation.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the sports games.
They all full of this crap
So,
too.
like the sports games, as far as I know that the hockey game is NHL, and I think the football game is soccer, and I think Madden as well. So American football, all have this like weird card game. So the only one I've really seen in detail is the one on the hockey game. So there's like this card game, and it's sort of like, and I'm not into sports, so don't quote me on stuff. Come on, but like basically like. I've seen my one buddy play, and he like buys cards and stuff with like in-game currency, and he's like assembling a team with these cards, and he's opening booster packs, like card packs, like basically loot boxes, and he's like trading with people, and he's fighting for cards with people and stuff like that. Or so like it's one of those things where that is very much a game as a service.
Yeah.
And if they're seeing major return in those, which they probably are, because as far as I know, and I've never played a fantasy sport, as far as I know, that's a very close thing to fantasy sports, and fantasy sports is huge. So if this game as a service thing is starting to really generate money for them, they want that in everything.
Of course. So he's gone on to say it will maintain the stunning visuals, authenticity in the Star Wars universe, and focus on bringing a Star Wars story to life. Importantly, we are shifting the game to be a broader experience that allows for more variety and player agency, leaning into the capabilities of our Frostbite engine, which they always love talking about, and reimagining central elements of the game to give players a Star Wars adventure of greater depth and breadth to explore. So this does sound like it's going to be almost a mini MMO. You know what I mean?
Which, I mean, might be cool.
That could be cool. I wouldn't mind getting some Star Wars gear and switching it up and getting different blasters and
But
stuff.
this is one of those things where EA is so big, like they could literally just be like, "Oh, we want to make an MMO. Okay, well, let Visceral
they have
finish this
SOTOR.
game, or
Yeah.
like whatever, shut them down if you need to, and move the development to somebody else, and then just have another one."
Mm-hmm. Now, the saddest part is not only will it be delayed until 2019, March 2019, was previously supposed to be in 2018, April 2018. It's now delayed. But also, Amy Hennig is no longer involved.
Because the story is probably no longer as strong.
Or no longer is necessary to the gameplay. They are in discussion with Amy about her next move, apparently, though. So, but I'm pretty upset. But I mean, it's hard to get upset when you don't know what the game was in the first place. You know what I mean? We saw some screenshots, a little bit of footage, I think, and then
No, yeah, for sure.
they talked a bit about it. But really, we didn't know what the game was going to be. We all just had high expectations. So it's hard to get completely upset that it's changed. You know?
I think what this is and again, it's one experience, but I think this is maybe what we're starting to see the industry do a shift. Mm-hmm. We're starting to see games as a service, and they're starting to go toward it, just like how software is doing it with like Creative Cloud and everything's a subscription, software as a service. So now everything's going to be something as a service, whatever as a service.
Yeah. And look at what's the game you play?
I play a lot of games.
That doesn't help.
I play a lot of games. That was
The
a
Division.
gun.
The Division.
Yeah.
And you got Destiny. Games like that. You know,
Yeah.
new content is added. You know, for free essentially, I guess. Like with the
Well,
major,
the Division, you had to buy it.
but no, there were major updates that changed the fundamentals of the game. Sometimes,
Yes. Yeah.
So, and those were free updates. And it's never changing world. And I guess they're doing a whole nother year of Division stuff, right?
Yeah. I think we're in that right now. But yeah.
So that, I mean, it seems like that's a way for companies to make a lot of money and support games for longer than a year.
The thing is with the Division, and I don't know whether it was just because it was late to the party or what, but the Division has microtransactions for like visual items. I don't think anything else right now. And it's one of those things where it's the game itself is fun enough, and they're aesthetic items, but it's not like as if the aesthetics in that game are like shortchanged. There's a lot of freaking outfits in that game, like just in the actual game, like, and I mean a freaking heck of a lot. Mm-hmm. So it's not like as if they're shortchanged. Like I said, maybe if the Division was made now, it would be different, and there'd be more all about loot boxes and crap like that. Yeah. But maybe Ubisoft is seeing games as a service as a potential, but they're also seeing, hey, maybe we can do a little bit of that, but stay closer to the free and more, not necessarily linear, but the less scumbaggish way of doing it. Maybe that's their niche. Maybe that's what they need to hit.
Yeah.
I'm fine with loot boxes in the Division. I know they're kind of scummy, whatever. I'm fine with loot boxes in the Division because there's so much customization already. It's like, really, like, I didn't care about this one random coat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody might, but there's like 15, like 100, not literally, other coats
Yeah.
to choose from.
Yeah.
So I'm okay. You know what I mean? I'm going to find a look I like.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm like in like not like my underwear and I don't have anything until I pay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But just from a business standpoint, logically, it makes more sense. Let's make one game that players play for 3 years. You know,
Yeah.
it takes like, I don't know, 50 staff members to add new content and updates.
Yeah.
And people buy microtransactions and keep supporting the game and just keep giving it money. Or are you going to choose, let's make a game, you know, that sells well for 2 weeks and then drops off and we have to put a sale price on it and it's dead after that. So from a business decision, it makes more sense to make these games that people play for longer and you just make less games.
The thing is though is what we're seeing though is we're seeing a less deep game and games that people are willing to quit.
Mm-hmm.
A prime example for us is Destiny. Destiny we haven't played in, I'm going to say 2 to 3 weeks. We're at the end game. Yeah, there's like a very few things to do, but it's just a grind now to do it. And the game isn't very in depth. I don't want to do my meditations anymore. I don't want to do this crap. I don't want to do the strikes. I don't want to do challenging Nightfall. Like it's just boring. Like I don't know.
And what's weird is the first game had different difficulties for the strikes, so we had something to work to. Now it's just like play these strikes. So once you played them, you're done with them.
You're just done. Yeah, we done
There's
the
no
4
challenge
strikes
there
or whatever
anymore.
it is.
Done.
Yeah,
You know?
And then it's like, well, you could do the Nightfall once a week, and like it's just I don't know. Like the Division or the Destiny 2 just seems very empty and blah.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I saw a lot of people on my friends list on Destiny 2 for as long as we were. 2-3 weeks, get to the end of the story. Okay.
Done.
And what's really bad about these games, and like the game developers should realize this, is everyone cries for a better story every time. They give them little nibbles of a better story. Destiny 2 is a way better story than the first game. And people love this story. You know, it's a generic shooter story, but it's a heck of a lot better than the first game.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like, okay, now go do those other things again.
Yeah.
And it's like, shouldn't you realize that people want more story?
This game it was almost identical to Destiny 1. And I think that's the problem with it. It felt like a big expansion, not like a new game to me. And I said this just from looking at the UI. I was like, this game looks identical. You know?
You're not wrong.
And I don't know. I don't know what happened there.
Like how much gameplay? Like this is one of the things I was talking to you about. So Adriano and I both had a milestone. We had to do like a certain amount, and it didn't tell us how many. A certain amount of public events.
Yeah.
And it just like has like a percent meter, and you do one, and it slowly completes. We literally fast travel, run to one, do it. Fast travel back, do one. Then fast travel back to the original one, do that one again. We did that like 10 or 15 times.
Mm-hmm.
And like you could tell John and I were both getting bored. Like, fast travel, back, forth.
Yeah.
It's like when it comes to the Division, am I constantly going after the same targets? Yeah, but there's like a bunch of different environments, and I have to run there. And if I get bored of that, I can go do an underground, or I can go do PvP, or I can go do an incursion. I can do a bunch of other crap. The Destiny just isn't there. And I'm afraid that these games are going to use Destiny because it's so big and the Division was so mixed in the beginning that they're going to look at Destiny and be like, oh, that's what we should aspire to be.
Mm-hmm.
What, a game with 4 in-game activities and like 10 pieces of gear? Now, obviously, I'm shortchanging that. I'm just bitching. But like, you know what I mean?
Adriano's actually already deleted it.
He's done, yeah.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't blame him. I haven't touched it. And I don't care. I see it on my system. I'm like, I'd honestly rather play Fallout at this point.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
All right, let's move on to Xbox One X. This is the 4K Xbox One. Not for everybody, according to Phil Spencer. Now, he's kind of talked about this before. He's just reiterating it. But he's saying the Xbox One S will be the market leader for us. It's the more affordable console. It plays all the same games. It will be the console that sells.
Right.
It does go on to say, whether you're a 1080p TV or a 4K TV, you're going to have a great experience, but it's not for everybody. It's like when we built the Xbox One Elite controller. We didn't try to say to everybody, if you need an extra controller, go buy the Elite controller. We sold a ton of those controllers, We know in the gaming segment, there are a lot of people who play games casually, and there's also people who are going to play. There's also people where gaming is their number one hobby. So I guess he's pitching this to the hobbyists of gamers.
Yeah,
I'm happy that he's being just completely honest about this.
I really like Phil Spencer, honestly.
Yeah.
He's down to earth. Like he understands. There's those guys that are, on PC and they're never going to give up PC. But he also understands that there's those guys who they just don't want to deal with PC, or they grew up with console and they're like a more serious console gamer.
Yeah.
They don't care about the mouse and keyboard. They're good with a controller, and they know that those type of people are going to buy the X. They're going to buy the Pro controller, and they know that other people are just going to buy the regular controller. And if they want some customization, they also have that like creation lab or whatever it is, and that's it. Like he's super down to earth about it. Like he doesn't care. Like even like us, really. Like I play games like probably more frequently than like the more than a casual person. But the Xbox One controller, the base one's good for me, and that's fine.
Now I wouldn't be surprised though. There is some PR to this as well.
Well, to everything, right?
I think he's trying to lower expectations. Now the Xbox One X is the fastest selling pre-orders for an Xbox console. Now again, that's not saying much since they've only been pre-ordering consoles since like the last generation, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not that big of a milestone, but it still is the fastest pre-ordered Xbox. But if they look at Sony, now Sony is outselling Xbox. The PS4 Pro, I think, is like only 20-25% of their PlayStation console sales.
Okay.
So I think he's trying to say, like, we don't expect this to be a big hit in our main selling console. Because clearly PS4 is only for the diehard like PlayStation gamers who have a 4K TV.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to be the same situation with the Xbox One X.
Yeah, like even if I had a 4K TV, like I'd probably do the S, not the X. Like I don't know, I'm not like
I want the X, but it's a lot of money in Canada.
Well, it's a lot of money in Canada. It's a lot of money in general. Like it's just one of those things where it's like I don't know if I would care enough. Like it's just like I'm fine with my PS4. Like I never once have I been like, oh man, I really need a PS4 Pro.
Yeah. But it's like I would only play like Gears and like that's it.
See, like you would be good with an S.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you could even get the original one if there was like a new old stock, and you'd be fine.
I wouldn't do that.
But like you would be fine though, performance wise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I am considering the S though. If for nothing else, I get a 4K Blu-ray player, which the PS4 Pro doesn't have for God knows why.
That's weird. Yeah, that's a weird one. But even still though, you're gonna get like backwards compatible games. You're gonna get all kinds of stuff with the Xbox, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna get a Crave app.
Oh, I have one on my Apple TV. So
you do? Okay.
That's fine there. So anyway, last story here. Blizzard hiring for a new Overwatch project. So they've posted a job listing as a generalist artist intern with knowledge and understanding of the Overwatch universe for what Blizzard's calling an unannounced project.
Cool.
Now, this is exciting because I think I talked about this on the podcast before, is I want other games in the Overwatch universe.
Right.
Because I want to learn more about that story,
Yeah.
For as little surface story as there is in Overwatch, I want something to delve a little deeper.
To be honest, it is a pretty damn deep story for a team shooter.
But that's what I'm saying, though. Is like the surface level, there's not much. But if you want to dig deeper, there is avenues to do that in the game. You can see little things. They have all the shorts. They have the comic books.
Yeah.
But if you just wanted to shoot people in a team-based shooter, you can do that. So I've always wanted a different type of game. Now I don't know what kind of game that is. Is it an RPG? Is it just a first-person shooter with a campaign? You know what I mean? What would you want?
I'm trying to like ponder this one.
Yeah. Is it like an RTS?
Well, it's interesting because they have not an RTS, but it's like the isometric thing in Heroes of the Storm.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you could kind of do an RTS, I guess, if you had like the practice bots and like the different events like Junkenstein and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I guess those would be like your generic troops and stuff like that. But for some reason, I think it's going to be a mobile app because there's characters. And
I'll take that even. That's fine with me.
But like, it's going to be one of those
base builder
character collector games.
I'll take that.
Can't do that. I wouldn't be surprised if that's it though. I really wouldn't be, because if
Yeah.
you notice, BattleNet just got their like chatting app on the store, and they're probably starting to hit get their devs like ramped up on mobile.
Yeah.
So it could be that. It really could be that, and that's a major game as a service type thing.
I'd play it.
I think I'm done with those type of games unless it's a license I really care about. I think I don't know.
Overwatch.
I don't care about that license that much. I play the game.
You stopped playing the Star Trek one, eh?
Yeah. I kind of beat it to death though. Like I got to a point in which I was like, okay, I've played this game enough. Like I am just done with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than that, it's hard to say.
That is, I think, a major possibility. The only other thing I could think of is if they do literally just like a Overwatch 2, like what they did with Heroes of the Storm 2, literally just a new Overwatch project, and it has some sort of big revamp, whatever that is.
That'd be exciting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Overwatch 2.0, because it's been out for so long. So who knows?
Over
right?
a year now, yeah.
So it could be one of those things, like on the second anniversary or something.
Well, cool. All right, our last thing for this week. Now, this has been in the news lately. A lot of different outlets have been giving their opinions on all this stuff. This is kind of like a state of the industry analysis, I guess, if you want to say. So microtransactions and loot boxes are cropping their way into all the latest AAA titles of the season.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes they seem bad, like they did in Battlefront. So people are a little wary of loot boxes going forward and where our industry is now heading. So I just wanted to discuss that for a bit. Now, it does seem like it's taking over, and I don't know if it's going to stop anytime soon.
Well, it's one of these things, right, where we saw microtransactions kind of hitting. Microtransactions kind of started out in the free-to-play segment, which makes perfect sense. And then it started kind of creeping into the, your general game that you buy for $60 or $80, whatever it is. And then now it's like what I was telling you is I used to always make the joke a few years ago, like, somebody would be playing online and somebody would be complaining like, God, I just can't beat this level, or Jesus, I can't like get this gun or something, right? And I always make the joke of, oh, can I pay $5 for it? Ha ha ha. Well, that joke is like almost invalid now, because now we're getting things where it's like, well, can I pay $5 to gamble for it? Like, and I understand like people for the argument of like, it's not gambling because you're always getting something. But at the end of the day, I don't want a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Really, though. Like, I don't want a bunch of crap. I want the item I wanted. And there's no fixed or even, like way to change the probability.
No guaranteed way to get it.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, Overwatch is a prime example. Overwatch, I understand there's gold, but you can't even purchase gold for real money.
No.
The only thing you can do is either earn in-game or purchase loot boxes. And loot boxes are totally random. They may have gold in there. So, like, for me, I'm trying to get the Reaper skins. And, like, after this event, I'm going to be out of gold. And I'm also going to be fatigued of the game. So I'm not going to be playing the game in anticipation of the next event in order to get the next tier of money, I guess. If you know what I mean. Like, I'm not going to be able to earn enough money to save up for the Christmas event, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally getting fatigued of this. I was talking to Marty last night because we were playing Overwatch, and right now I have a Trailer Park Boy Greasy Money event.
Yep.
I have Fallout Shelter limited time quests. I have Pogo event just started today, and I have Overwatch event. What the hell is going on?
Now, I think the saddest part is that microtransactions were originally designed to make mobile games free, right? So the whole point was, okay, we're not going to charge you $10 or $5 to play our game. We can give you the game for free, and these are things you can buy if you want to increase your playability of the game.
Or even just unlock things because you're not paying for the actual game.
Yeah. The problem with this is you're paying $60 US, $80 Canadian, and then they still want you to have that ability that was only there to make the game free. So why am I still paying full retail price? Do you know what I mean?
It is
when you're forcing this thing, and now the mobile games have those energy systems, right? Like where you have to spend 6 energy to like do one match or something.
Oh yeah.
Now the console games don't have that, so that's good.
They have that. I'm literally done.
That
I'm
would be
literally
really
done.
bad. But it just seems like
this is becoming, and I used to always say this. I used to always say the music industry, and I said this up until like last week. Like seriously, the music industry, in my opinion, is the most greedy industry, and that is very rapidly changing to the gaming industry is the most greedy industry.
And what's sad about it is like a lot of the times you see these developers talk about this stuff, and they're people and they care about making good games, right? And then when you see something like microtransactions on the games, it's almost like a Wizard of Oz situation where you see the man behind the curtain and you realize, oh, it is a company that just wants money from me, and I'm only like a cash cow for this company.
And
do you know what I mean?
And we're seeing it in indie devs too. We're seeing abandoned early access projects left, right, and center.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that that's not microtransaction and stuff, normally,
Mm-hmm.
but like it's still. That's the man behind the curtain. That's the cash cow. Oh, I couldn't finish this project. Thanks for the $2 million.
Right.
Like seriously,
Mm-hmm.
Kickstarter and stuff. Like I understand that's more than games. It's the same damn thing.
Yeah.
Like I understand. Like if you look at this, if you look at like what was the cable TV you were telling me where it used to be like you could use aerial or whatever to like get your analog TV signal in, right? You could use aerial, which is an antenna for you youngins. To get your analog TV back in the day.
But you would just get the big networks.
You'd get the big networks, your local networks,
and then
CTV,
you would get
whatever.
ads on those.
You'd get ads, you get commercials,
Yeah.
and then you would buy cable because you're paying a subscription, and then you would get more channels or whatever, and then you would end up not having ads, and they started creeping ads in. And I feel like that was kind of, and I mean there might be exceptions to the rule, but that's kind of the extent that our parents, I guess, kind of got gouged, if you will, for money. Us. Our game started out with, on PC and like PS2 and that, like in that era kind of was like our kind of starting of our golden age in terms of age, like understanding games, is like we started out with PS2 and PC, and the only DLC or whatever you could buy was a full expansion pack. You had to go to the store, buy another disc. And that was rare, and those were big. So those were really worth it, and they were cheap. So it's like there was that, and that wasn't really gouging. That was pretty fair.
You were getting a whole lot of content,
whole bunch
for some money, yeah.
And then now it's like, here's your game, but you can't unlock anything. You're gonna have to. Sometimes you have to unlock the ability, and then you have to get the currency to buy it in the game. Sometimes the currency is locked behind a paywall. But now it's like they've also thought up like, it'd be really cool is if level 11 and 12 was locked behind not just a paywall, but let's do a bunch of outfits in the game. Let's toss them all in a box. Let's get those 2 levels. Let's toss them in a box. And this isn't a specific example. This is just a theoretical. Toss them in the box. And these guys really want to do level 11 and 12? Okay. Here's a 0.02% chance of unlocking level 11 and 12. Make each loot box worth $2.99. Go. Earn them in game. Grind the game. Do level 1 through 10 for about 100 hours, and you might get that. Maybe. And that really grinds it. It grinds my gears, man.
And the saddest part too is like, since all these great games are doing this now, it's like, are we really expecting gamers to vote with their wallets when we want to play these games? Do you know what I mean?
This was one of these things where and I'm not like a fortune teller, but I said this earlier is I remember people our age in around high school we kept saying microtransaction will die, no one buys them. And I'm like, no one buys them. But we started out in the era of PS2 and the expansion pack at the most. The fact that these kids today are growing up with these transactions, they're going to ask their parents for it. The parents are going to do it because they're a couple bucks sometimes, and those are more. The parents are going to do it. The kid's going to grow up. They're going to get to our age, and they're going to expect it. And then it's going to be the norm. And then it's going to be everywhere. And now loot boxes is the thing.
They won't think it's a problem, yeah.
And they don't think it's a problem. They're just like, what do you mean? That's just that's like a new code. I have to pay $3. Seriously, though.
Yeah. It's a bad time, and it kind of crept up out of nowhere. I mean, there were some people like raising alarms, but then it just
we were bitching about loot boxes.
Just all of a sudden, like every single game has loot boxes and microtransactions. Just boom. Because I remember even like a couple years ago, even when they launched the new systems, Forza got in a huge bunch of trouble for putting microtransactions in their games, and there was huge outrage for it.
Yep.
And then the developer kind of backed off a bit, but then the next game had them, and the next game had them, and then all these other games had them.
Because
we got overwhelmed by all these microtransactions and loot boxes, and there's no way to stop it. As a consumer, there's literally no way to stop it. I'm gonna still play the games. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things where like like I was talking to Tim this week, and like Tim was telling me, he's like, why would you support like try not to support the industry? But I'm like, but this is my hobby, and it's everywhere. It's not like, oh, Shadow War has it, no other game has it, so it's like, well, I want to play Shadow War, but I'll vote with my wallet and I won't buy it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's like, no, Overwatch has it. Overwatch has it. Shadow of War has it. A bunch of mobile games have it. Like even that Trailer Park Boys game has it. Follow Shelter has it. Like it's fucking everywhere. Pokemon Go has eggs, for Christ's sake, that are basically loot boxes.
Yeah.
Like what is going on?
Yeah.
And there's certain exceptions to the rule. Like Overwatch, I would say, did loot boxes right. And I don't want to say that I support loot boxes at all, but Overwatch is all the free updates, and it's a team shooter, and the whole point, quote unquote, the whole point of like kind of like opening loot box is like, oh, look, I got lucky, and here's a skin that doesn't enhance my gameplay experience, right?
Yeah.
I'm still kind of against that because it's getting to the point where I can't even unlock aesthetic items without paying out the ass, realistically.
Yeah.
But if anyone did it right, it was them. Fallout Shelter, kind of the same thing. It's a free game. Okay, I guess. But come on.
I think that's a big thing for me though, is like if Battlefront didn't have like if it wasn't star cards and like unlockables, and there's higher power star cards that you can get that are better than other people's star cards, So if you have two like hero characters going up against each other, but their star card is only like level 1 and mine's level 4 or whatever it is, I'm going to beat them because my star card's better.
Yeah.
If it was all aesthetic stuff, that'd be fine with me. If I could unlock a bunch of different costumes for Rey or something like that, that'd be fine.
But the thing is, though, is even that is sacrificing a piece of your game.
It's not ideal, you're right.
Those used to be unlockable.
But aesthetic just seems unnecessary to the actual enjoyment of the game. If Overwatch didn't have them, it would still be a fun game to play.
That's exactly it with Overwatch. Exactly. Like if they just gave us 4 voice lines, 4 sprays per character, and they just gave us those characters, and like even if they just like straight up, like didn't even give us anything else, and literally just like we're like, okay, here we go, and we're gonna release maps once a year or whatever the hell their schedule would be.
Yeah.
Like that is a legitimate. Okay, fair. I'm annoyed about the event, but it's not gonna make my Reaper better if he looks like a Halloween Reaper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But now they probably make more money off of non-aesthetic stuff, off of boosting your character or something. They probably make more money off those. You know what I mean?
There's a freaking boost in Shadow of War.
Yeah.
I unlocked a fucking boost.
Yeah.
An XP boost. I'm leveling up left, right, and center.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. That's the most mind-boggling loot box system I've ever seen. It's like
what am I doing here? Like, why?
the entire point of this game is to kill orcs. And you're supposed to just slaughter the orcs.
Yeah.
You're going around Mordor. You're killing orcs all the time. You can get all the gear you want from killing orcs. But it's like, no, please pay for our loot boxes so you don't have to kill orcs. You know what I mean?
That's ridiculous.
Then I'm not going to play the game. You know what I mean?
What's hilarious is I think they're failing to understand that like it feels so much better to earn something like the one door or whatever in Shadow of War, the first like elven door or whatever.
Ithildin or Ithildin or something like that.
Something like that. Slight spoiler here, just an FYI. I got like the Bright Lord's armor, and I fucking wore that thing for like until literally it was like so obsolete that it was garbage. Because I was like, man, I earned this freaking thing. I went around and did this. I did this little like word puzzle. I got in there. I took it. It was my first purple piece of armor. Frick yeah, and I freaking like had it on, and it like felt really good to have it. Me putting like my Reaper thing on, it doesn't feel like I accomplished anything. It feels like I got lucky, and it was like, oh, thank Jesus.
Right. Yeah.
I opened 3 or 4 loot boxes with Marty last night, and I got 3 voice lines. Like, are you fucking kidding? Like, I'm not trying to be angry at Overwatch because we just like kind of justified them, but like, come on.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Killing a high level orc and getting like a super good piece of armor feels a lot better than just opening a loot box and finding it.
What I'm afraid of, and again, I haven't played the full game. What I'm afraid of is 1, maybe the harder difficulties or later in the game in Shadow of War will be actually difficult, and I'll be having to grind a bit. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I can tell you this. It's getting easier.
It's getting easier. Okay.
Yeah.
But there is a different difficulty setting if you restart a new game. So maybe, another thing is I've been into other people's games, and obviously you're going to see some repeat orcs, right? There's not 15 billion orcs that they made. My question is, are the best orcs not in the game? And are they in loot boxes only? There's a question.
I don't know.
Is it like, oh, this guy has like a special warg that can't be killed, and he also is immune to this and that and the other thing? If you get the guy in the game though, like without paying, his war can be killed or something.
To that same
Whatever.
effect. To the same effect, is there gear exclusive to the loot boxes?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like even those Vendetta missions, those are fun. I'm earning something, whatever. I don't care. Even like those Vendetta missions giving me a loot box, I actually like those loot boxes because so far I've gotten garbage gear out of it. But what I'm earning is I'm earning those Vendetta points. I'm earning orcs and stuff like occasionally. I'm getting a shit ton of XP. I'm getting the Vendetta score, and I'm getting loot box. I'm fine with stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, oh, you did all this stuff. Here's your regular reward, and you know what? You played online, so here's a little like kick in, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah. All right.
Games as a service, everyone.
That's enough complaining for this week. This has been Day One Patch Podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play Music Podcasts, and on YouTube at youtube.com/Day One Patch Podcast. Hit subscribe to all those different services if you please.
Here's a question for you. How the hell do you get on Spotify podcasts?
Good question, Matt. It's a damn
Right in, everybody, because I don't know how to do it.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.